dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again.
Hey, what's going on? Good evening, guys, and welcome to another edition of Stateside TV. Of course, it's the U.S. Men's National Team Watchalong tonight, live from Columbus, Ohio. Site of many very good results for the U.S. Men's National Team. Of course, tonight, though, it's not Mexico, it's not Costa Rica, it's Japan. The second leg of a two-leg friendly double, and of course, we all know exactly what happened on Saturday. And of course, tonight we get an even better team in Japan. But listen, I got to be honest with you guys. I've had a couple days to kind of sit on this one, and the way that I feel about this is I'm okay with this. Now, granted, I'm going to sit here and say this with a caveat that eventually, results matter, and eventually we're going to have to actually start winning. And potentially getting good results and kind of building momentum. But in the meantime, it is what it is. And the philosophy with Mauricio Pochettino, I can kind of understand it from a philosophical level, wanting to see certain men playing under adversity. From that standpoint, whatever. But that being said, tonight's also kind of a big night. The lineup changes, the formations. I think it actually suits this team. And I've been screaming this for the last 4 days that I was wondering whether or not Mauricio Pochettino actually understood the strengths of this team. And I think formation-wise, potentially, he got it right tonight. And of course, the U.S. will line up in a 3-4-2-1, two inside forwards and a lone striker. And of course, Flo Balogun will be playing up top. No Diego Luna as one of the two inside forwards. As a matter of fact, Mauricio Pochettino decided to use Alex Zendejas on the right, Christian Pulisic on the left as the left inside forward, which I actually kind of like. Playing two wing backs, Max Arps on the left side, and it looks like Alex Freeman will be up on the right. Three center backs, Chris Richards, Tim Ream, and Tristan Blackman, with two center holding mids in Tyler Adams and Christian Roldan. And I actually kind of like this a little bit, because we're going to be far more compact in the back with five, with two holding mids up top outside the 18-yard box. We're not going to be so easy to actually slice through the middle of the fucking goddamn park. So from that standpoint, it kind of suits this team tonight, because this is actually a far more defensive team than it is going to be an offensive team. And what's going to end up happening is we're going to at least try to get quick transitions and try to utilize some of our pace to try to get ahead a little early in this match, and maybe potentially get a goal lead on Japan and potentially get some momentum and put ourselves in a position where if we have to hang on to the end, we do have some decent reserves on the bench for us to turn to and hopefully pull out a win. Tonight's lineup, of course, there it is right there. Matt Freese will be in net tonight. The back three is going to be Richards, Ream, and Tristan Blackman. For some reason, I actually think I actually think all of us probably would assume that it was going to be Nokai Banks tonight. Why bring him if you're not going to use him? And I think we saw enough of Tristan Blackman in the first game to realize that he's probably not the kind of guy that you want to bring to a national team. As a matter of fact, he's kind of been a mid center back for his entire career. LAFC reject for a few years. I think he's been in Vancouver for 3 years. The first 2 years were mid as fuck, and then of course this year he's actually had a very good year, and so apparently that warranted the call up. 29 years old, and of course I think we understand exactly how that played out. Meanwhile, a guy like Nokai Banks, you brought in for a reason because there's a specific skill set, and I was a little disappointed that we didn't see him today. Maybe we will see him at a certain time, maybe in the second half, who knows. But again, back three in the second half. And now here's the thing. We also have to use a little context about that second half because South Korea took their foot off the gas. As a matter of fact, they bunkered down, and they were essentially daring us to score on them. And of course, we couldn't break them down. It is what it is. So there has to be some context to that second half. But we played mostly with a back three, attacking in numbers. And we did look a little better. Not great, but it is what it is. So we're starting off with a back three, 2 wing backs. And I actually think that's going to suit this team a little bit better. Obviously Arston kind of plays as a left wing anyway for Columbus. And Freeman's not bad. I wouldn't say he's exactly great, but I think he might be able to do a job tonight. But what I really like is the fact it's the 2 holding midfielders. And I understand people's dislike for the fact that Christian Pulisic is on this team. But for those that actually watch the Seattle Sounders and understand exactly the type of season that he's had, and he's not necessarily a full-time 6 with Seattle. He's actually kind of a deep-lying playmaker, a kind of roving high midfielder. So from that standpoint, he's going to add a little something, I guess you can say, in transition, especially in the center of the park. But of course, the dude is a leader. The guy is going to, track back. He's going to try to play, aggressive defensively as well too. I don't mind the inclusion of Christian Roldan in tonight's lineup. I actually think it adds maybe a different element. But that being said, playing next to Tyler Adams, I think that's actually going to be a beneficial double pivot, I guess you can say. And then, of course, the 2 inside forwards. I'm glad that Alex Zendejas is getting a start tonight. I actually think of all the subs that came off the bench in that first game, Zendejas showed a little something outside of Balogun, of course. And, of course, you're going to have Christian Pulisic playing that left-sided inside forward, and I actually think that makes a lot of sense too, especially if we're going to be a little direct on the counter, trying to play balls over the top. We're trying to play weighted pass centrally and try to utilize that speed and get him into space where he can actually be dangerous. This actually might pay off tonight. And, of course, Balogun will be up top. All right, so that is the lineup for the U.S. men's national team. I don't necessarily give a shit what Japan is going to be doing. And by the way, Japan is actually playing the exact same formation, a 3-4-2-1. Osaka was in net for them. Their back three of Sakine, Araki, and Nagatomo. Their midfield 4 is going to be Mochizuki, Fujita, Sano, and Maeda. Their inside forwards are going to be Ito and Suzuki, and up top will be Agawa. So that's interesting. So it's going to be interesting. You wonder what type of, how this game is going to start. Who's going to actually be brave and who's actually going to try to play ball forward, get numbers forward, and actually try to, attempt to, be ambitious in this game. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this one's going to play out because Japan's a better team than South Korea. And by proxy, they're probably in better form than we are at the moment. So that's going to be the interesting thing. But as we know, there's been a lot of chatter on USMNT social media, whether that's Twitter, whether that's TikTok, by the way. Just to let you guys know, I'm on both. There's that right there on X at Stateside Footy, and of course on TikTok at the exact same handle. Definitely hang over there because I do enjoy talking football, especially U.S. men's national team football. By the way, hit the like and subscribe button here. We are on a race to 1,000 subs, of course. And by the way, this channel is growing as well, too. And I do appreciate everyone that does hit the sub button, but also hit those like buttons as well, too. And that would be greatly appreciated. All right. So one of the biggest things, why does that say Pochettino on? Give me 1 second. That's funny. All right. There we go. So one of the things, Jesus Christ. There it is. And now we've got that saved. Sorry. All right, so there it is. One of the things that I keep saying, seeing on USMNT social media is whether or not it's time to pump the brakes on Mauricio Pochettino. I think because of the run of form and because things have not changed in the year that he has been in charge, I think there's a subset of fans that think that maybe this might be the time to pump the brakes, maybe bring in another coach to lead this team into World Cup 2026. And I've been consistent by saying that will absolutely not happen because of the work that it took to make sure that the funding was in place. That's being number one, and because he was when he was hired, what was everybody clamoring for? Number one, a foreign coach. That was the first thing. But they also wanted a coach that had no ties to the U.S. Soccer Federation, and Mauricio Pochettino checked all those boxes. Now, you can sit here and say that how it's played out has been vastly different, but the biggest reason outside of the financial aspects of this is the fact that it would require U.S. Soccer to admit they got it wrong, which means Matt Crocker would have to admit that they got it wrong. Matt Crocker's boss, JT Batson, would have to admit that he signed this one off, and he would have to admit that it's wrong. And then, of course, it goes all the way up the chain to the U.S. Soccer Federation president, Cindy Barlacone, and those three idiots would have to admit that this thing, they got this one, they botched it. Chances are very good they will absolutely never do that. And they are pot committed with Mauricio Pochettino and everything that goes along with it, and it's attached to it. And it sucks. I know there's some fans that feel like, in a vacuum they have the power, because when the Copa America ended, those 3 days, of Berhalter out, and the fact that towards the end of it, even the American Outlaws got involved, and of course that was sanctioned by the U.S. Soccer Federation. But the reality is there's a lot of fans that feel like if they can make noise loud enough, that they might actually have the power to potentially persuade in an effect that they did with Berhalter, because I think the reality was that that was a nepotism hire the second time around, but results actually mattered then. And when you actually get embarrassed in a competition like the Copa of America, that actually has consequences. And at the time, the timing was good to make a change because we were still 18 months out. And from that standpoint, you can understand why they would move to try to do that. But now we're less than 8 months out. 10 months, a year later, we're like, we're right there. We're just right around the corner, man. We're first cousins to the World Cup in 2026. And the last thing you want to do is you want to pump the brakes, because that actually could be far more detrimental than trying to see if you can regain momentum quick as possible. Now, I will say some other things as well, too, because we've seen MLSers within the first team in Camp Cupcake back in January. We saw a few of them at the Nations League. We saw most of them at the Gold Cup, and now we're seeing quite a bit again in this window. But that being said, when you look at the totality, there have been a lot of first-teamers that have been called into Poach's camp. And it's not like, one of the things that I think we have to discuss in a little bit is the fact that there was a lot of bad timing as well, too, because there was a lot of injuries where we didn't have Balogun and we didn't have Pepe. So we had Sargent and Najamang and some of these other, we had MLSers because of injury. And in certain contexts against weak opponents, they kind of took advantage of it, but we never seemed to necessarily have the entire first team available, because Gio was always hurt. Then Anthony Robinson got hurt, and then, Chris Richards was lacking form and some of these other things, right? So Tyler Adams got hurt after Copa, so we didn't get him back until like early in the new year, right? So, I mean, there was a lot of things that, forced Poch into playing specific players. But that being said, man, I think we're through this. And the reason why I believe that is because at the end of the day, it's only going to get a little harder. The schedule is going to get a little harder. The October schedule is going to have El Salvador, and it's going to have Australia, but then the November window is going to have Paraguay, and it's going to have Uruguay. And I would probably assume that come the October, if everything is equal and the players are healthy, chances are pretty good we're going to see the bulk of the guys that we're going to see in 2026. And I'll say this again. Mauricio Pochettino attached his name to the United States men's national team. And regardless, he's not going to return after 2026. Win or lose, he's gone. But if he bombs and he gets grouped at the World Cup, his top flight soccer club career is over. The Tottenhams of the world, he's never going to coach again. Chelsea, Liverpool, not that he would even get those jobs to begin with, but you get what I'm saying. Those upper echelon jobs in Europe, gone. Never again, because he made a mass mistake. But if he should succeed and get to a quarter, he's gonna leave anyway. Which means we're going to be looking for a new coach after 2026 anyways, right? So this is just this is exactly what it is, a short-term hire through the 2026 World Cup. And, for better or for worse, this is how it's going to look. And I will say something about tonight's formation. The 3-4, the 3-4-2-1, it actually suits this team on paper. Now, of course, they have to go out and execute it. They have to go out and execute, and they have to play well. And by the way, if they play well in a draw, I think we'll be okay with that. One of the things they can't do is what they did against South Korea, which is get down early, concede before the half, and then, essentially run around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off in the second half. I don't think they can afford to do that. But what I will say is, tactically speaking, this formation actually suits this team. I'm kind of curious to see how it is. One of the things that I think that, and let's get to this one, right? It's the question of whether he understands the strengths of his national team and also the strengths of his player pool, right? And again, man, I go back to Italia '90. I remember that World Cup quite vividly, and I also remember Gold Cup '91. World Cup '94, Copa '95, Confederations Cup '99, obviously World Cup 2002, all those World Cup qualifying cycles, all the major tournaments that we played in. And the reality is, and I think this still holds true today, what the U.S. has always been very good at is developing technical midfielders, whether it's a CDM or a potential, center mid thrown in for good measure, center backs, wing backs, at least competent wing backs, and of course goalkeepers. We have always been a very good, technically defensively sound team. And when you have good CDMs like Michael Bradley or Jermaine Jones and a Tab Ramos, or you have center mids like Claudio Reyna, right? And you're playing a system like a 4-4-2 in a diamond, a midfield diamond, where you have Landon at the top of the diamond, and you have Michael Bradley or Jermaine Jones at the bottom of the diamond, and then of course you have you're going to have Josie Altidore and Clint up top. You have some technical ability up there. You're going to play direct, man. You're going to sit back, you're going to defend, and then you're going to play the counterattack, and you're going to try to get some of your more technical attackers in spaces where they can do damage, right? This is something that the U.S. has always been good at. And the reality is we've also got some of our better results because we played over the sum of our parts, because we always had a little bit of tenacity. And so when we played teams that were much better, when they came off the pitch, they realized just exactly how hard it is to beat a U.S. team. We don't know what this generation has, because after the failure of 2018, the U.S. Soccer Federation told all those dudes to get the fuck out. So they gave the next generation, a young generation without any leadership, the reins. And I think that actually caused a lot of problems going into World Cup 2022 because we just didn't necessarily have any leadership on that team. And I think it showed, considering that, there was nobody there to hold anyone accountable. We always had third cycle guys on every single World Cup roster. And those guys were kind of the leaders of the pack. And so if somebody stepped out of line or somebody's ego got a little too big for their britches, there was always 3 or 4 guys in camp to be like, that's not how it works, man. And I think that was a big part of the issue with this generation is who is the leadership? Who is going to be that guy? It's nice when Tim Ream and Tyler Adams say the right things to the press, but are they saying the exact same shit in the locker room? I doubt it. Tim Ream's kind of a passive aggressive dude. Dan Davenport checks in. He says, do you think Pochettino could go back to club football somewhere before the World Cup? Nah. The U.S. Soccer Federation will never let him out of his contract. Unless somebody pays his release clause. And I heard that release clause is crazy ass high. I don't think a team right now is lining up to get Mauricio Pochettino. You'd have to be desperate. And Manchester United just might be that desperate. AK Sheds, come on you Spurs. Or come on you States. No, it's cool, man. By the way, for all you Spurs fans watching, former Tottenham head coach Ange Postecoglou has signed with Nottingham Forest. Congratulations, Ange, back in the Premier League. All right, so we are dangerously close to kick. I would like to ask those that are tuning in, again, to make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons, but also let me know exactly how you're feeling about tonight's match against Japan. How do you feel about the formation? Do you think it suits this team tonight? Who do you think are the weaknesses on the pitch? And then, of course, what's your final score tonight? Again, I actually think that the only weakness tonight in tonight's lineup is going to be Tristan Blackman. I think we saw everything that we needed to see from Tristan in that first game. I actually, from that standpoint, I would have preferred to see Nokai Banks start tonight. Makes a little bit of sense. I did hear that there might be like a little bit of an injury issue, but that being said, it's like he's on the active roster playing. Yeah, he's on the active roster, I believe. Yeah, he is. Active roster playing. Makes sense. But the other thing is like I don't necessarily believe that Christian Roldan is going to be that big of a weakness because number one, he's a CDM to begin with, anyways, right? So you're going to be able to utilize his defensive prowess and his leadership accurately. He's actually not a terrible player, but also again because he's also right now playing as the best center mid in Major League Soccer, he can get forward and he can actually help you break lines a little bit more centrally. So he's kind of an interesting one. But that being said, the whole thing about tonight is utilizing both Zendejas and Pulisic, and then also trying to find some sort of chemistry with Balogun up top. I'm curious to see what this team looks like in the counterattack. Because me personally, I think that's going to be our best shot at winning tonight. Dan Davenport asked, what about Jesse Marsh's Canada soccer head coach and why didn't the U.S. We did go for him. We did. So here's the thing. For those that follow Jesse Marsh's career, he has a tendency to fizzle out. Every appointment starts with a bang for Jesse, right? Like I remember his Leeds. He started off very strong with Leeds, but eventually fizzled out. Same thing with RB Salzburg, RB Leipzig, but that being, and of course Canada. If you remember when he got appointed to Canada in 2024, that Copa America, that run to the semis, yeah, there was some luck involved, but even he started hot with Canada. But lately, man, that Gold Cup, this last Gold Cup was supposed to be the tournament Canada was supposed to win, and they got bounced. So it is what it is. But that being said, he was interviewed after the 2022 World Cup when Greg Berhalter's contract came up. They offered Jesse Marsh the job only to give it back to Greg Berhalter in the 11th hour, and he found out via phone call. The U.S. Soccer Federation did him dirty, and that's why Jesse Marsh said that after that he would never coach the U.S. men's national team as long as the current leadership is in place. So they did. And he says that Nuno's looking for a job. Yeah, Nuno Espirito Santo out at Forest, which is kind of surprising considering what the year that he had last year. But man, I'm going to say that the U.S. surprises Japan tonight. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to win, but I think the interesting thing is, like, I actually had this conversation with my brother today, right? And he was like, have you ever considered that maybe Pochettino is trying to find out what his first team, how his first team handles adversity? Because what you're going to see in the World Cup is nothing but speed. Like, you think South Korea was fast, and I was like, nah, not really. I mean, they were pacey, but let's understand that Sun is like 34. It's not like 10 years ago for South Korea. But that being said, that's what you're going to see at the World Cup. You're going to see physicality. You're going to see a lot of speed. And the U.S. men's national team are going to have to be able to be put in situations where they're going to have to put out fires and figure out things on their own. And the interesting thing, that's the point that he brought up. And I was like, well, they didn't necessarily have their first team out there. I digress. But that being said, okay, I was like, okay, I guess there's a point there. But the reality is, it's like, if you wanted to know what his first team, if you wanted to know what his first team was going to feel like under pressure, then why didn't he bring in his entire first team? And we could have gotten a really good idea. But that being said, the point was taken, Sam. Point was taken. And what I will say is that I think what Pochettino really wants is a response, like a true response. Can this team get angry? Can this team put up a fight? And can this team shock a team like Japan and just show 90 minutes of dedicated football? That's the question. Is this team capable of it, or is this team just what we think we are, just a bunch of entitled bitches? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what I think. I think maybe we'll see a surprise. Now, is that going to mean that the U.S. are going to win? I don't know, man. I don't know. But do I think they're going to get humbled like we saw against South Korea? Man, I don't think they can afford to have that type of results. So I think I'm going to go 2-2. I'll say a 2-2 draw tonight. Let's see. Japan is, I believe Japan is, let me look them up real quick. Rankings. All right. Japan, by the way, their FIFA rank is 17th, but that's bullshit. Japan in the ELO rankings is number 14. And the United States is like 45, I think. Let's find out. Yeah, 49. So if they can actually beat Japan tonight, that might put them in the 30s. And but then they get Paraguay, which is 22, and then they get Uruguay, which is 10. Oh man, so let's see. Kyogo is a good Japanese player. Yeah. So listen, man, Kyogo, very underrated killer. Yeah, he's an underrated killer. But that being said, here's the deal, right? He plays for the best team in Scotland. What does that say? What does that tell you, though? Right? When you look at the landscape of the Scottish Premiership, what teams that can you point to and say, well, they got a pretty solid defense? You know what I mean? Like, they're compact, they're organized, they're hard to score on, they play in a low block, and they make you actually work for your goals. The answer is, I don't think I can name one. And that's including Rangers. And by the way, Russell Martin's a terrible coach. He's probably going to get fired from Rangers. And Japan is ranked 17th in the FIFA World Rankings and 14th in the ELO. and the ELO is far and away better. So yeah, man, we're getting pretty close. Kickoff is just around the corner here, and I believe, man, I don't know what. That's the thing, man. I just don't know what to make of this team. Like, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, man. It's my national team. Of course, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but man, they've lost seven straight matches to top 25 opponents, and I think they've been dummied 11-3 in those 7 matches, man. It's hard to ignore it. It's hard to ignore the form. Matter of fact, they haven't beaten a top 25 team since the 2022 World Cup, and of course that came against Iran in Iran side. So from that standpoint, it's been a minute since we've actually had a quality result, and I think we're beyond due to have that. You know, we should be playing at map free, just playing. So we are pretty close, man. It looks like everybody is on the field. And it looks like, they're doing some national anthems right now. So we're pretty close. And it looks like it's a good American crowd tonight, man, which is something that's a rarity. Considering that, essentially the crowds for the U.S., the U.S. friendlies have been dog shit, but it looks pretty good tonight in Orlando. Not Orlando, but Columbus. This is, essentially a home match for the U.S. Of course, it's always been the U.S.'s home in Columbus, Ohio, home of the legend of Dos Acero. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Man, Japan scares me, though, man. Japan is so tactically good, man. They're so quality. They are so fundamentally good. They don't. They might not be the quickest team in the world, but God damn it, they're just good. They play a good brand of football. And as Dan Davenport in the chat had mentioned earlier, Kyogo is an underrated killer, man. But we're going to see, man. We're going to see who blinks first tonight. And I would love to see the U.S. come out with a sense of urgency. I mean, it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since this team came out and just made a statement. Like this team came out and just punched somebody right in the mouth just for the sake of doing it. I would love to see that type of tenacity because they got skill on the pitch, man. They do. They got it. Every time Christian's on the pitch, man, you have to wonder whether or not he can do something different. Let's see. What is my favorite U.S. soccer stadium? Now, is that a loaded question? Is it soccer specific or just a stadium where a Major League Soccer team plays at? Because there's some pretty cool soccer specific stadiums, man. But of course, I'm from Seattle, and Lumen Field, when full, is a very magical place to play soccer. And I will say that if anybody watched Leagues Cup against Inter Miami, and you watch the Sounders feed off that crowd, man, that was a thing of beauty. So I'm going to say Lumen Field in Seattle. Although there's no disrespect, by the way, there's no disrespect to the old map for you where the U.S. men's national team used to play. There's no disrespect to lower.com where they're playing tonight. The stadium in Nashville, which is nice. Austin with the green wall, which is pretty nice. There's like soccer specific stadiums that have been popping up over the course of the last 15 years. They've done just a phenomenal job. And I can't wait for World Cup 2026 where the rest of the world gets to see it. Nate Holloway. Nate Holloway, my guy, man. What's going on? It's been a minute since I've seen you, my guy. He says, Rhode Island FC, baby. I love the fact that you come in here just flossing the USL Championship, man. That's awesome. Let's see. Not MLS specific, wherever the US. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? they're going to be playing in NFL stadiums though in the summer of 2026. So you're going to see Soldier Field. You're going to see AT&T Stadium in Dallas. You're going to see Giant Stadium or the MetLife Stadium in New York. You're going to see SoFi in LA. Lumen Field in Seattle is going to be a host venue. So you're not going to see a lot of MLS stadiums. You're going to be seeing a lot of big boy stadiums. So it's going to be interesting. So I like it, man. I like tonight's lineup, man. You know, a 3-4-2-1. And it's going to be interesting to see the movement of Zendejas and Pulisic, man. Oh yeah, they might. I think maybe they might be playing at Levi Stadium too in San Francisco. Very good. Let's see, Dan Davenport. What are the chances of my favorite NFL team going to the Super Bowl? That would probably be 0. Go Seahawks, go Lions, and then the 49ers. So we are close, man. That's funny that you're a 49ers fan. I grew up watching the 49ers. But that was at the end of the Montana era, so I saw a lot of Steve Young. But that was back when the Seahawks were blacked out for like 5 years in the 90s. There you go. So he's going to at least one match at Levi's. I'll be in Seattle. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, you register for tickets. I'll be doing that in the early AM. And then once they go on sale, man, I'm picking up tickets for the U.S. men's national team when they play in Seattle because I'm taking my ex-wife. And we're going to have a good time watching the U.S. Beat the brakes off whoever they're playing in Seattle. So it's going to be great. Hope you have a good time, man. It's that's the thing. It's like it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, regardless how much the price is. When your national team is playing at a home World Cup in your hometown, you go. You just go. You swipe your credit card and you worry about the price later. Seriously, man. All right, we're pretty close here to kick. And it looks like the U.S. are in their home whites playing from right to left. And, of course, the Blue Samurai are playing left to right, as they are in their Blue Samurai kits. Congratulations. And, of course, the U.S. will hold possession first. And we are off here at Lower.com Field in Columbus, Ohio, as the U.S. will hold possession. It'll be Tim Ream as that ball gets played a little low. And it's Christian Pulisic now plays it forward to Balogun, who tries to flick it forward. And that ball will get played out from the Japanese goalkeeper, and then of course it looks like Ream will play it back to Freeze, and Freeze will play this long as that ball is going to get headed out for a U.S. throw-in high on the right side, and that one's going to go all the way back. Looks like to Chris Richards. And it looks like Japan's doing a good job of pressing high as the U.S. are trying to play out of the back. Not a big fan of that, man. Just play one long, man. All Japan has to do is press, but there's a good ball forward. And this is what you want to see. U.S. getting on the end of things. It's Freeman. Freeman's in the box trying to play one in. That's going to get deflected away. So good opportunity right there for the U.S. That's exactly what you want to see on the counter. Play balls forward, get your pace onto the end of it, get yourself in good positions, and play something into the box. That's actually a very, 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 very good sign of things to come here. Let's see if we can actually duplicate this shit. And it's back to Chris Richards. As Japan will commit to the press here. Here's Pulisic here. Ooh, and that was deflected back. But U.S. will hold possession. And there's another ball that's going to get pinged all the way forward. And the U.S. will have somebody. Ooh, and Freeman couldn't track it down. But I like it, man. I like these balls forward. Utilize your pace. Dan Davenport's asking, what do I think about Levy leaving as chairman of Spurs? I did a video on it, and quite honestly, I thanked him for his stewardship, man. He took a mid-table, mediocre Spurs team and turned them into a global power financially. You can't overlook it. I understand 2 trophies in 25 years is not good enough, but you know what? When you look at the job that he did and how he left the club versus how he came in, he did a great job. As that ball is going to get played out past the end line. And it looks like this might be a goal kick. No, it's going to be a corner. Let's see how the U.S. defends this corner here. As Ito, looks like Ito will be taking this corner. And U.S. defends the short as that ball gets whipped in. And it's going to be headed out as Japan will take possession here. As that ball gets played all the way to the right. And that ball's taken away. Good movement right here, although that was a bad pass. Looked like it might have been Arvston right there, trying to play it a little centrally. As Japan will hold it in the U.S. side of the field, that's going to be offside. Do you have any news on John Textor, who has been linked to? Let's see. I actually do. John Textor sold his shares in Crystal Palace because he couldn't get a controlling interest, and it looks like he was forced out at Lyon, Olympique Lyon as well too. So he still owns a controlling interest in Botafogo. And it looks like he's looking for a club where he can have controlling interest. And yeah, it looks like he's gonna buy Wednesday. As the U.S. now, they are under pressure, but that's a switch to the right side, and there's going to be a whistle here as they got a little chippy right there in the press as Alex Freeman hits the deck here. We could have ended up like Everton, Villa, or Newcastle. Newcastle Stadium, man. You can't really put Newcastle in that combination. But here's the U.S. on the restart. That's Tristan Pulisic is trying to flick. As that ball is now going to get switched to the right side, cutting in. They got space. Plays it forward. That weighted pass was just a little too much right there. And it looks like they had Zendejas on the end of that one as Freeman was trying to play it through. I like this ball movement from the U.S. It's fluid. As Christian made the switch, Freeman looks like he inverted a little centrally, just trying to hit Freeman on the outside. That looked really good. And so far, it looks like the U.S. are kind of slicing through a little bit. And that's a good ball over the top from Japan. That's going to get played across, deflected away. And now the U.S. will have an opportunity here. Can they counter quickly? And there's going to be a whistle. Yeah, I know they were. Yeah, but we're talking about Newcastle after the takeover. As there's the throw in here, as now Richards will play it quickly to Tim Ream, who's now going to play this one up the gut, trying to get Ballo involved. Good idea. As the U.S.'s ball movement's been nice, man. They seem confident. This is a different look. That ball is going to get taken away. There's the flick. There's a shot. Ooh, and it goes over the crossbar. It was Christian. As that ball gets turned over high by Japan. As the U.S. were pressing, Balogun came in, made a flick to Pulisic from at the top of the 18 as that ball flies over the crossbar. But God damn it. The U.S. are the aggressor in this one. They have certainly responded. think Newcastle did get relegated at one point, as that ball's taken away. As the U.S. will now control possession. They've done a very good job. The U.S. has been on the front foot for the last, 10 minutes? Started strong. Yeah, the first 7.5 minutes, they looked actually pretty strong. As Japan is looking for an answer here. And now Freeze will launch one up the right side a little bit, but that's going to be taken away. And so now Japan will have possession. It's actually kind of nice. These, by the way, these two holding midfielders, are not going to allow Japan to play through the middle of the park, because that ball is going to try to get switched to the right as Arvston gets turned around. And that ball's going to get played in. Ooh, save. Saved by Freeze. I don't know if Matoma's playing tonight. He's on the bench right now. Matoma's on the bench, and Sugawara is on the bench. Watanabe's on the bench. So they actually have some of their better players coming on the bench tonight. That was a good ball in as Matt Freeze. And by the way, that back post was wide open. And God damn it, it looked like Ito was sitting right there with an empty net after the save, and Freeman's got to be a little bit more aware. The U.S. dodged a goal right there, because that actually probably should have been 1-0 Japan. And it looks like there's going to be a foul here as Tyler Adams is down. Holding a shin as Fujita is the guilty party here. And it looks like Adams is going to be okay. Looks like he got checked knee to knee. A little bit of a stinger there. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how this is going to play out, as we're not even 10 minutes in. As that one's going to get played all the way back to Freeze. Good pressure right here. That's going to get turned over. As that's going to get played out, actually. I thought Arston turned it over. That's a turnover right there. And the U.S. are going to try to attack centrally, although that was a bad pass. And it gets played all the way back to Japan's keeper. So the U.S. in the first 7 minutes, controlling the pace. As that ball is going to get headed out. So it looks like Tim Ream was the last guy to get involved. Now imagine Anthony Robinson playing that left wing back position tonight. Jesus. That ball's going to get played down the right-hand side. That ball's going to get knifed into the box, but that's taken away by Tim Ream. And that's going to get out as Arvston couldn't clear it. But two Japanese attackers will have that ball ricochet out of bounds. So Arvston will be playing the throw in here, as that's going to move forward. Looks like that was Pulisic. And now the U.S. will have possession. It's Tyler Adams, who's going to go all the way to the right. Here's Freeman. It's Roldan. Good ball in. Held up. And, ooh. And there's a whistle as in Dejas. Maybe it gotten a little chippy there. But again, the ball movement from the U.S. is absolutely good. It's fluid, man. Their passing is fluid. It's clean. That was a nice little opportunity right there for Zendejas to kind of hold it up and keep it in. Try to play a nice little flick back or something. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more shots on goal. That would be nice. I wish though, as this ball is going to get played long by Japan. As it's headed around, now that's going to get played forward. Ooh, and I thought that was going to come down to a. Thought that might come down to Freeman as that ball gets played out. And it's rolled on, playing it forward. And it looked like Japan picks the back pocket as that ball gets played forward, headed forward. And the U.S. couldn't hold it. As Japan now, we're going to be playing down to the right-hand side. And it gets played all the way back to their keeper. I will say, man, I like this version of the national team. Looks like they're focused tonight. This has actually been a pleasant surprise, man. Granted, we're only 14 minutes into the first half, but it looks like they absolutely responded. The U.S. can pop one in, man. This crowd is going to go bananas. As Japan now will play it deep on the left-hand side into the U.S. territory. Tyler Adams closes the gap there. That ball's going to get played in, and that'll get out for a goal kick. So Japan can't find anything on the attacking end as the U.S. essentially has cleared the top of the 18. They look good. This team plays pretty good with the back five. That's kind of nice. As now Ream is going to have to play this forward. Tip back as Japan now will hold it in. As it got away. That ball's going to cross to the backside. Headed forward, there's Freeze. As Ito is causing problems. I think that's Ito. Blonde hair, looks like an Ito. Yeah, it's Ito. Platinum blonde hair. Yeah, it looks like an Ito. Or a Suzuki. Let's see. What does Jurgen Klinsmann do nowadays? He does interviews on American TV. That's what he does. You know, he was as that ball is going to get played deep and out for a goal kick. He was actually the head coach of the South Korean national team for about 2 years at the start of this cycle, and then he got fired about a year ago. He just didn't mesh well with the South Korean team. He was looking for a team to coach in the World Cup at the United States, and he said some things about the Korean culture that actually happened to be true. But of course, it didn't work. It didn't side well. It didn't size well. His results really weren't that great. And it's tough, man, because I think Jurgen can coach, man, and he gets a lot of shit from U.S. fans too. But people seem to forget that we had our best run of results under Jurgen Klinsmann. There has to be something to it, as the U.S. now will play it into Japanese territory here. You know, the fact that we went to Germany and beat them there, we went to Italy and beat them there, where it was the only time in the modern age that a coach led the U.S. team down to Azteca and beat them down there. So the results don't lie. We got out of a group of death in Brazil. That ball's going to get played forward now, and Freeze will run out and get it. he led that team out of the group of death in Brazil 2014, and then got to a semifinal of Copa America. So, results don't lie, man. I know some of the players didn't like him, as that ball was tried to get played over the top, but just a little too far right there. You talk to Landon Donovan or you talk to Tim Howard, and they'll tell you that he was kind of clueless, and yeah, he probably was. But he was anti-MLS, as that ball is going to get that's turnover high, as the U.S. are going to be in the box here. Here's Ballo. Ballo shoots. Ooh. Oh, the U.S. had an opportunity right there. As the deflection came back to Zendejas, he tried to play one on. But again, another turnover high. As Balogun flicked it to Pulisic, and Pulisic fed right back to Balogun, who puts one on. It was deflected out to Zendejas, who played it right into the keeper. But goddamn, that's another good opportunity for the U.S. And they're playing well, man. Oh yeah, when Klinsmann was a player, man, he was dope, man. With West Germany back in the late '80s and '90s, I think he coached Germany as well too. I think he built the team that ended up winning it in 2010. As the U.S. are kind of pinned here, that's a nice little touch right there by Ballo, who now swings it over. It looks like it's going to be. It looks like Christian Roldan. Here's Freeman. Yeah, listen, man. Klinsmann was a very good player. I don't think he understood the wherewithal and the politics of U.S. soccer, because that was at a time where Major League Soccer was majorly like flexing their muscle with influence within the federation, and he didn't like it. He was anti-MLS, and he took some heat for that, because that was the time when some of our best players were coming back, and we were about ready to start World Cup 2014, and he didn't like it. Let's see. Donovan was a bit of a prima donna, huh? He's tied for the leading scorer in U.S. history with like 58. Dude was an automatic goal with the national team. I can understand why you say that, though. But here comes Japan now, as they're attacking from the right. That ball is going to get deflected in the box. Not cleared away, as that ball is now going to shift to the right. That ball is going to get played in. Headed down, saved by Freeze. Oh, that was a big save by Matt Freeze, as that ball was pinged in from the left, as home dude went up over to unmarked, and Matt Freeze with a big time save right there. That's huge. As the U.S. now are trying to counter that to ball forward. Here's Balogun now, trying to get into the box. Balogun lays it short. There's a shot that's going to get deflected. Balogun will try to hold it in, but that touch went the wrong direction. But again, the U.S. is getting forward, playing balls forward onto their speed. There's a turnover. Let's see what the U.S. can do. And ultimately, it looks like Japan picked the back pocket. Damn, they look good. Here comes Japan now, running in space. That ball's going to get tipped away, and it looks like there's going to be a whistle. Yeah. Damn. Matt Freeze, man. That's a big-time save by Matt Freeze. Says, I wonder for the opening series, will they get Diana Ross to sing again and miss a penalty? That's funny. Is Diana Ross still alive? That's it. That's an interesting. What's funny is Donovan was talking about his time in Everton because, he went to Leverkusen as like a 17-year-old. He was out there for like a couple of years before he came back. But it looks like looks like Zendejas looked like Zendejas was about to get a booking there on that side tackle as he came under. Oh, dude, he got all ball. Yeah, it might be a booking. Good slide tackle by Zendejas, though. The interesting thing is that Donovan was talking about, and he's going to get a booking. Zendejas is going to get a yellow. Oh, get up, Fujiyama. He was talking about his time at Everton, and he went over there the first time for 13 games, which was like right in the middle of the season, like December to early February-ish. And he was saying that he was so exhausted after he came back because he just wasn't, prepared for the speed and pace of the English Premier League. But he played well at Everton. As it looks like this will be a Japanese free kick here. Oh, look, Fujiyama is okay, or Yamamoto. What do you know? Okay, so Diana Ross is okay, so still alive. Yeah, Clint Dempsey was a very good player in the Prem. As that ball is going to get headed back, and there's going to be a whistle, and that's going to go against Japan. Dempsey, he actually got the move to the Prem after the 2006 World Cup. He actually barely made that squad, but I think he scored against Ghana in that opening round, and that actually got him the move to as that ball's taken away. Here comes Japan now. Down on the right-hand touchline. Bad mistake right there for the U.S. As now Japan's going to try to recycle this thing. As the U.S. have done a very good job so far of limiting Japan's touches. Doing a good job of kind of keeping them out of dangerous areas. They could be a little bit better. As Japan's recycling now. The U.S. is kind of turning the screws. The pressure is not bad. As that ball is going to move centrally, taken away. And it'll look like that might have been Pulisic trying to play it out to the right. And here comes Japan now. As that ball is going to move to the left. As Freeman's back. Zentejas steps up. As he tries to dribble in the box. Richard steps up. That ball's knocked out of the box there. As that ball's going to get fired over the crossbar. And it'll be out for a goal kick. I love it, man. Couldn't find an opening into the box, and it looks like Sakine. Skies went over the crossbar. He got that goal against Ghana in 06, and that allowed him to move to Fulham in the Premier League. And he took advantage of it, man. I liked it. And I remember his Europa League run. Yeah, Brian McBride was already over there. And, McBride is the one that always gets overlooked. Played in the same era as Donovan was coming in between 2000 and 2004, as that ball is going to get played in. And there's Matt Freese right there at the near post. And McBride actually was a better goal scorer at the time than Donovan, although Donovan was a hot prospect. But McBride was our best aerial threat. That dude was vicious on free kicks and corners, man. And he went over to Fulham as that ball's going to get played forward again. It looks like they were trying to get Pulisic on the move right there. Again, I love the idea. I think Dempsey had the better Premier League run than McBride. But, McBride was always dependable, man. Dude was awesome in the air. As this ball is going to get kind of headed around the left hand side, and now that ball is going to get kicked to the right. As they're going to try to play a give and go down the right hand side, there's nobody there. As Arston actually had gotten beat, and now Japan will try to cycle this to the left. Space to move. Trying to beat Freeman around the corner. As that ball gets played in, and that's going to get knocked out for a corner kick. Let's see. Do you have any plans to meet up with Irish Hotspur American sidekick Jack Kanicki? What's funny is Jack and I were supposed to meet up the last time I was in Seattle. It just didn't work out. But I still talk with Jack every once in a while. Yeah, so the next time I'm in Seattle, maybe I'll meet up with Jack. Good guy, man. I like Jack. Like Dave too, man. Those guys are awesome. Make sure you guys head over to the Irish Hotspur and hit like and subscribe, man. Great channel. As this ball is going to get whipped in. Good hands right there by Freeze playing that corner. Dude commanding his box. There was no traffic. There was no traffic in front of him. I like that from a goalkeeper, man. Being aggressive. That's funny. It was sleepless in Seattle. That's awesome, Dan. That's awesome, buddy. Like I haven't heard that one before. As that ball's going to get played out. And Freeman was actually making a play to it. And now he tries to tip it to himself, but that's going to get played all the way back to Japan's keeper. And now Japan will have to reset. Do you know how many times I've heard this, dude? I've heard Sleepless in Seattle, I don't know, at least 100 times in my life, man. Tom Hanks makes a dopey movie about Seattle. That ball's turned over. Here comes the U.S. That's going to get played all the way. It's Balogun off the left-hand side outside the box. Balogun's going to try to step in. Outside. Lays off. Here's Ream. Plays it to the left. It's Arfston. Arfston cuts around his man. Puts one up. Shoots. Go! Zendejas. Alex Zendejas off a shitty cross from Arfston, but God damn it, he hit the target though. As they had to recycle back, Ream finds Arfston, and Arfston cuts, beats his man, puts one in, and there's Zendejas in the box, left foot in a finish. And the U.S. has taken a lead on Japan, 1-0. Great goal, great goal. And you were wondering if the U.S. were gonna be the team to get on the board first, and they did a fantastic job. They have been on the front foot all half, 31 minutes in. And they're playing beautifully right now. I think Pochettino has found a formation that is going to work for his team because they're actually playing the counterattack game pretty well, man. They're clogging the middle. Their mid block is good. Japan can't operate centrally. And credit, I guess, to Arfston and Freeman. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're both they're shitty defenders, but they're kind of doing a decent enough job where there's not a lot of balls being played in off the wings. Essentially the double sixes in front have actually done a fantastic job. Say what you will about Roldan. He's not a bad six. As that ball has to get played out. Good press right here. Yeah, there's a whistle. Let's see. Do I like superhero movies? I do not. I don't. I think they're overproduced shit. And we did it, bud. Expressions voice. Okay. That's funny. We did it, blood. Oh, I see. Blood. As the U.S. now will have possession. God damn it, they look good tonight, man. As Reem. As the U.S. are going to have to try to cycle through this. As Japan doing a pretty decent job in the press, but U.S. have done great to counter it, man. Quick passes, good transition, man. Fluid passes, and of course they're not afraid to play a ball forward, man. They are literally going after that back line of Japan. They're doing a very good job. There's another one as they're going to try to play this one up the right hand side, and that one's going to get headed out. Let's see. Finally, that damn right, dude. Damn right, Rich. Show some respect. God damn it. God damn it. We've been playing fucking brilliant front-footed football in this first half. We look good. Pochettino finally got a formation that worked, and this team is just awesome. That ball's going to get crossed to the backside, a little too high over. But right there is Freeman. Here's Pulisic. Freeman's going to play it in. Tapped. And Tyler Adams tried to hold it in. As Japan now will try to counter. But again, there's the U.S. press. Doing a very good job. Strength in numbers. And Japan has no choice but try to play it forward. And that's going to be held in. And there's a whistle. Tom Hanks is a Villa fan. I did not know that. I did not know that Tom Hanks was an Aston Villa fan. That's actually kind of depressing, if you ask me. Then again, I'm a Spurs supporter, so what does that say for me, though? As Ogawa was the guilty party there. What I like about this is I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like on the bench is Serginho Dest, Nokai Banks, Diego Luna. So even with Dest and Banks, that's something you can bring on late. And if you want, you can bring on Diego Luna. Oh, nice. Let's see. So what formations and personal changes did we make? I had the game on, but was occupied. So instead of playing, that was a good save right there by Freeze. So instead of playing a 4-2-3-1 narrow, he went with a 3-4-2-1. 2 outs, 5 in the back, 2 outside wing backs, 2 inside forwards, which is Pulisic and Zendejas, and then 1 up top. And here come the United States now again. Space, it's Pulisic. Pulisic's going to play this one out wide. Cuts to the inside, shoots. Ooh, that was a good save right there. Actually, right on target. It looked like it was Arfston. And, of course, Balogun's up top. And, from the off, we have been the team on the front foot. Good pressing. And but what I like most about it is we're challenging their back line. We're playing balls forward and utilizing our pace on the counterattack. And Japan can't keep with it. This is actually a formation we probably should have played against South Korea. But again, man, and Zendejas pops one in off what I consider a bad cross from Arfston, but God damn it, he was in the right area, man. Yeah, that's what I love. Yeah, we're pushing ahead. This actually was a very good, a very good tactical switch from Pochettino, man. You got to give him credit because we're looking really good against this Japan team. Now, granted, Japan is also not playing all their best players, but I don't give a shit. As that ball is going to get played up the right, it looks like it's going to be Freeman, 1v1. And Freeman's going to have to play this one back. And looks like it's going to be Christian Roldan. And Roldan's going to have to play this one back to Chris Richards. But you know what, though? I'll say this, man. having 3 in the back, having 5 in the back and being far more compact when Japan tries to get forward, and the 2 6s on the top of the 18 was a stroke of brilliance, man. Yeah, I agree, man. We look like a way different team. I'm happy about it too. This is what I wanted to see for like the last 6 months. And I hope Pochettino doesn't go back to the 4-2-3-1 narrow, especially with playing with the 4 midfield. It utilizes width. And that's something that we just didn't have against South Korea. That ball's a turnover. Here comes Pulisic now. Pulisic outside the box on the left hand. That ball's tipped. Pulisic will hold. Pulisic shoots. Christian. That was a good turnover right there by Christian. High press. Christian looks good tonight too. He looks motivated. Christian found space and tried to play one. Oh, that got tipped. I think this is going to be a quarter. Yep, it was tipped. U.S. corner. Their first of the night. And of course, Pulisic taking it. They're going to play it short. Pulisic now. Oh, that was just a bad pass. But Pulisic's going to keep it in, though. And that ball's taken away. And that's going to get played forward, but it's going to be held in. It looks like it's going to be held in by Arvston. That ball's going to get played in. Backside. Oh, over the head of Balogun. Oh, I was going to see a Ballo banger right there. A Ballo bomb. This Pulisic played one. God damn it. Yeah, I do too, man. I don't like short corners either, man. I wish Pulisic would have just fucking played one in. Short corners to me are a waste, especially when Japan knew it was coming and they just fucking pressed it. Dude, like, is it me or is Christian hustling tonight? It's something odd about Christian, man. He looked sluggish and looked like he was disengaged against South Korea. Tonight, he looks like he's the best player on the pitch tonight. And as Richards will play it all the way to Ream. As Ream plays it forward for Pulisic. I think that's going to get out for a U.S. throw as Sakine says it's him. Nope. Dude, I just like the hustle. You know, in the last like 4 or 5 matches, man, it's like we've seen more hustle in chess than we have on the pitch. Is that one that'll get tapped out either? So maybe Pochettino was right in his post press conference after South Korea, where he said we looked night and day better. Maybe he saw something we didn't. Because this team looks awesome. As Roldan will play it to the right. That's a good ball forward. Trying to free up Ballo. That's going to get taken away. On the right-hand side. Ooh, that was almost lost. And the U.S. looks like they're going to have to reset here. As that ball is going to get played back to Richards. But the U.S. are just pressing forward. By the way, a win against Japan tonight would be absolutely massive for momentum for this team. Just to show that they actually still have the capabilities. Because that ball's now going to get played to the left. As Arvston was there. And now there's a switch to Pulisic now. Pulisic in the box, 1v1. Pulisic. Try to play it. It gets deflected. Good pass right there. Was that Christian? Christian hasn't played bad tonight. He's come into this camp in peak form, man. I'm not a bit. By the way, I'm not a big fan of Luca Della Torre, and I'm not a fan of Sebastian Berhalter or Jack McGlynn. But that being said, man, when you look at Christian Roldan and just how he's played this season and the work he did against Messi in Leagues Cup, that's respect, man. As that ball's going to get played out to the left. Christian played it in, tapped away. Back out to the left. It looks like it's Arfston. That ball's got to get played off. And it does. He finds Chris Richards now as the U.S. will rotate. Play it forward. Play it forward, young man. As Japan's now trying to tighten the screws here. That's a good ball. As that was trying to get played forward. Look at that. As Freeman will run onto it. That's going to get out, though. Yeah, this team looks incredible, man. See, here's the thing. What I was disappointed was the fact that Freeman started tonight, because I actually wanted to see Serginho Dest playing in this formation with that back five. You know, Serginho Dest is essentially would absolutely just be amazing. You know, as that right-sided wing back, as that's going to get tipped up, headed forward, and Japan will take this one away. Because, you know, that's the thing. It's like I'm just not sold on 6 months of Alex Freeman. As that ball now is going to get hit long down the left side. That's going to bounce centrally. And Japan now they're going to work this down the right-hand side. Try to move centrally. That's a shot, low, deflected. That's the first time Japan's been able to actually move a little bit centrally, as they caught the U.S. flat-footed as they were tracking back. There's to the left-hand side. That's going to get played in, and that's going to get played out. That's the first time we've seen the U.S. slow on the track back right there. As we are now pushing minute 45. The U.S. leading 1-0. Man, I would love another first half goal. Put this one away at the half. As they're going to try to play this into the box off the left-hand side. Shoots. There's Matt Freese. Good save. Nate Holloway says 1-0 USA. Yep, they played good. It looks like there's going to be 0 minutes of stoppage time here. So this will most likely do it right here after the corner. I agree, man. I agree. Everybody's playing better tonight. This is, this right here is exactly what you wanted to see, as that ball gets whipped in. And that's going to get headed out. This is exactly what you wanted to see, right? Especially after what we saw in that first half against South Korea. You wanted to see some sort of pulse. You wanted to see some sort of response. Not just from the players either. You wanted to see it from the coaching staff as well, too. You wanted to see if Pochettino actually got it. And listen, man, so far through the first 45, everybody is playing better, man. I like the way that Pochettino set this team up. I said it in the first 30 minutes prior to the match starting. One of the things that you wanted to know is whether or not Pochettino understood the strengths of his player pool, and especially this group here tonight. And I think he answered the challenge. I think he did, right? Playing in a 3-4-2-1, and literally just playing balls forward, right? Trying to slice through the middle of the park as much as you can. I like the inclusion of Christian Roldan tonight, because I think he adds something besides, playing two sixes. I think he also came in form. He's also, right now he's playing as the best center mid in Major League Soccer. But I also think when you look at some of the things that he does and his movements. Not only can he play forward, but he also tracks back as well too. The dude is responsible. Now, whether or not he belongs on the national team, that's a conversation for something different. But that being said, I think he played well in the first half. Tristan Blackman hasn't been a liability, but that being said, he's got cover, right? Because when they track back, it's 5 in the back, so you don't have to worry about him getting burnt in space, because there's always going to be somebody in front of him to take that pressure away from him, right? So I think defensively, Pochettino got it right. When you look at that back seven, Japan right there at the end was really the first time Japan really actually got any type of looks centrally outside the 18. They've essentially been pressed to the wings in the first half. And I think that's played into the U.S. advantage. But one of the things that I liked most about this was the fact that they were closing up space. They were creating turnovers high. That goal came off a turnover high. And Max Arfston skinned his man to the end line and put one in, and Alex and Dejas had a beautiful finish. So, man, I hope this is our formation moving forward. But what I will say though is that when we're playing in a 4-2-3-1 and we're narrow, what it does is it essentially creates a bottleneck centrally, right? And we don't necessarily have those overlappers on the outside. We don't use width, right? So we're not actually lengthening their back four, which allows attackers to move into the channels, right? So when everything is narrow and we're not playing centrally, we're not playing directly, what essentially happens is they just clog that central area, and we essentially become stagnant in the attack. And of course, when we're trying to play, I guess you can say a half-field game in a build-up, not only are we not getting runners forward, we're not playing balls in, we look absolutely just lifeless. And in this formation, because we're starting off essentially with width, because we're playing with wing backs, as soon as we play forward, it draws defenders to the ball, right? So it automatically just lengthens everything out. And I think that's played to our advantage too, because we're not afraid to play forward. And again, historically, that's how we play. We play from the back forward, challenging back lines and getting some of our better technical players on the run in space and allow them to do what they do best. I thought Christian had a beautiful first half. Rich Rod said, if we win this game and continue to look good, do you not get cute potch? Keep the game plan until it destructs. Teams like Japan are probably the type of teams we need to play. Yeah, well, but also these are the type of teams we're going to play in the World Cup, right? So from that standpoint, you're absolutely right. The interesting thing about this is that, you're absolutely right. Don't get cute. But here's what I want to see. What I really want to see is this formation with the full first team, right? For instance, let's just say that, you take Christian Roldan out of the equation and then you put Johnny Cardoso next to Tyler Adams, or you put Tessman next to Adams, right? And then you have a guy like McKinney coming off the bench and a guy like Musa coming off the bench, right? So, if you're up one or you're tied late, and you're looking to get a little bit more technical getting forward, especially on the counterattack, you have a weapon like Musa or a weapon like McKinney coming off the bench if you want to go with 2 6s. But what would be interesting is if you actually had Balogun on top with Christian as the left inside forward and Weah as the right inside forward, and then you have Anthony Robinson and Serginho Dest just bombing up both sides. All of a sudden, we're an awesome goddamn team. We're an awesome goddamn team. Let's see. When is our next game? That's going to be in October. Let's see. So it's USMNT. I'll tell you right now. I know it's El Salvador and somebody. Give me 1 second. It's going to be all right. So October 10th at 8:30, U.S. versus Ecuador. And then on the 14th, it's going to be Australia, which is going to be a win maybe because Australia is actually not shitty. But the real ones are coming in November. November 15th and 18th, we're playing Paraguay, and then we're playing Uruguay. Right. So from that standpoint, right, we're going to need our first team. We have no excuse not to bring in the entire first team for that window. But really, in October, you want your first team because we have to start actually developing chemistry and start developing continuity with those guys that are going to be at the World Cup, man. Ecuador, you're absolutely right, man. Ecuador is a tough team. Let's see real quick. Richie starting as Brazil's 9 tonight. Praying he doesn't get hurt. Yeah, I would probably assume that Richie's going to be taken off in the 60th minute. But it's nice to see Richie back in the national team. That's the reason why he stayed with Spurs, because he wants to be a part of this World Cup. So good to see it. Betancourt starting with Uruguay tonight. Yeah, good player. Only get cute if game plan is more aggressive. Listen, man. I would actually prefer it if we are an organized defensive team first, counterattacking. I think it just suits this team far better. Glad Romero isn't playing tonight against Ecuador. 2 red cards already. It's a bloodbath. Oh, shit. Nate Holloway says Zendejas in the 30th minute. Rich Rod says Ecuador is a tough team. I agree. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stats, these first half stats, because the U.S. 62% of the possession tonight in the first half. 62% with a lead. Japan has only mustered 38% of the possession. As we look at the total shots, the U.S. has 8 in the first half. That's a huge difference. And Japan's supposed to be the better team. U.S. has 8 total shots. Japan has 7. Shots on target even 4-4. U.S. has the big chances 2-1. Accurate passes, U.S. 293, Japan 155. Fouls committed, Japan 6, U.S. 2. So they've actually been efficient today. Japan does lead the corner battle 3-1. Let's go ahead and dig deep into this one. Again, total shots 8-7. As we look at the block shots, the U.S. has 3 block shots, Japan's 1, so that's good to see. Shots inside the box, U.S. 6, Japan 5. So not only are they getting in the box, they're actually making the most of their opportunities inside the box. Outside the box, it's even 2-2. Passes total, U.S. 331, Japan 186. What I like about this is these aren't sidewards passes; these aren't backwards passes like we saw in against South Korea. These are actually this team is actually playing brave tonight. They're actually being very ambitious tonight. I love that. Passes in the own half, U.S. 185, Japan 94. Passes in the opposition half, 108 to 61. God damn it. Accurate long balls, Japan 17, U.S. 15. It's close. Accurate crosses, 4-1 Japan. Throws, 10-5 U.S. Touches in the opposition box, 18 to 12. That's absolutely huge. We look at defense now. Tackles, 6-3 Japan. Interceptions, 4-3 Japan. Clearances, 6-5 U.S. Duels, Japan 21-14. Ground duels even to 12-12. Aerial duels 9-2. And successful dribbles 4-3. So the United States looks absolutely different. Unbelievable. Good first half. So now the question is how does Pochettino attack? How does Pochettino adjust for the second half? I would assume you're going to see the entire starting 11 come out for this one, and I would probably assume right around the 60th minute is where you're going to start seeing players come off. I would think this is going to be an opportunity for a guy like Nokai Banks to come in. The interesting thing is whether a guy like Josh Sargent comes in. I would assume Damian Downs. I would probably assume that Damian Downs is going to get in. The question is Luca Della Torre or Jack McGlynn. Do they bring in Serginho Dest, or they're going to get Freeman the entire game, or they still have Nathan Harriel? But I would probably assume that we're going to see Downs, Nokai Banks. I would love to see Serginho Dest, but I doubt it. Maybe Sebastian Berhalter. I doubt that though. Maybe it's probably going to be Luca Della Torre, maybe Diego Luna. Although that I'd be kind of interesting to see that, right? Because especially if we're going to hold with this, this 3-4-2-1, I wouldn't mind seeing Diego Luna in the Christian Pulisic role as that left inside forward, and allow his pace and his physicality to get played into space, right? So I wouldn't have a problem with that. But that being said, right, as this thing continues to get into that 60 and 70th minute, right, and if we're still clinging to a 1-0 lead and we're still doing everything right, the question is, does Pochettino just park the bus and start playing defense? I don't know. Or does he continue to attack? Because right now, like, we're slicing apart Japan's back line. Like, I would continue to keep our foot on the gas, play for that second goal. And then at that point, around 75 minutes, if you're up 2-0, then yeah, you bring on No-Kai Banks. You can probably bring on I would actually just keep Tyler Adams and Christian Roldan in, right? They're 2 6s, so I'd rather see that. But I would take Blackman off for Banks. If I'm taking anybody off, I'm taking Arston off, and maybe that's an opportunity to put Serginho Dest on the left. And then maybe Damian Downs up top for some minutes later, and Diego Luna. But outside of that, it's like all I really want to do is see this team continue to keep their foot on the gas, because right now they are the better team. They are 100% playing as the better team. Richard says, accurate long balls, you say? So the 90th minute MLS strategy of just launching the ball down the field and praying for the best is finally starting to pay dividends. Listen, man, you want to talk about the the MLS strategy of launching balls down the field, but you have to understand, right? Like, that was the USMNT for years, man. If you want to go all the way back to the Bora Milutinovic era, that's how they played. Same thing under Bruce Arena. You can also say the same thing for Steve Sampson in '98, although Sampson was a shit coach, But that being said, it's like there were different elements of it, right? Bruce Arena still played that way in a 4-4-2 diamond. Bob Bradley did it. Jurgen Klinsmann did it. The only thing that Klinsmann brought to it was, the overlapping fullbacks. So if you're going to be attacking, bring fullbacks along that have pace and the ability to play the ball into the box, right? That's how we got DeAndre Edlin as a youngster in that 14 World Cup. But that's funny, though. I actually like this, though, the 90th minute strategy of just launching balls down the field and praying for the best. I love it. When in doubt, man. When in doubt, keep things simple, because that's international football. Like the idea that's the thing that I hated about Greg Berhalter, right? Because he wanted to play like 2012 2012 Barcelona, and we just didn't have the talent to play that way. The only thing that Greg did was let everybody know what their role was and what to expect, and I think because of it, like, we had some pretty decent results. But it's not understanding your player pool and understanding your players' strengths, and then trying to like overcomplicate shit at the international level. It's like you have like 5 windows a year, maybe 6, and you only get like 10 days with them, right? So instead of like trying to instill these strategies and trying to play beautiful football, man, be pragmatic in its simplest form and let your players play your players to their strengths and let them go out and make plays. And because of it, the U.S. actually had very good results, and they actually played above the sum of their parts, man. And I just want to get back to that U.S. football, man, because we have a distinct style of how we play, and we were able to beat Germany, Italy there. We beat Spain, and we beat Spain when Spain was Spain. So, the proof is in the pudding. I think we deviated with Greg Berhalter. When we were trying to be somebody that we're not. Straight up. As looks like we're almost at the start of the second half. There's Chris Richards. Man, I think that's the leader right there. Everybody thinks that Tyler Adams is like the captain or should be the captain material. Let me tell you, man, Chris Richards is kind of the captain for me. That dude's a leader. So it looks like Japan's going to bring in Seiko. And let's see, we have Sargent, Luna, Weah, Dest, Luca, super subs. I don't think Weah is going to be playing tonight. That's just a hunch. If you ask me, the only players I'm bringing in are Nokai Banks, Damian Downs a little bit later. I'd bring in Diego and Serginho, but on the left. Anthony Robinson wasn't in this camp. He is just getting back from injury from Fulham. So he didn't come into this camp. As we start the second half, Japan now playing from right to left, as they're going to try to play this down the right-hand side, and that will sky over the head and get out for a U.S. throw-in. I wish we had Anthony Robinson in camp. Trust me, I really would. As they're going to play this forward, and now the U.S. will try to shoot it forward, but there was nobody there. As Japan now will control possession. Yeah, like imagine if we had Anthony in this camp, especially tonight against Japan. Dude, he would be feasting. As that ball is going to get played forward. Good give and go right here as that ball is going to come out to the right-hand side, right outside the box. And that ball's taken away. And looks like that's going to be is that going to be a Japan throw-in right there? Nope, U.S. throw-in. But I will say that it was nice seeing Serginho back healthy, because that was one of the guys we've been missing for quite a while. And as that ball gets deflected, and it looks like it's Ito chasing it down. And that ball is going to get played in. Ooh, right there at Freeze. Matt Freeze has had a good game tonight. You know, we lost him with the ACL injury, but if this this team's A team plus a prime Dempsey, we'd make a World Cup semifinal. I actually thought we were going to make a run to that 2014 World Cup. Once we lost Josie Altidore in that first 10 minutes of the first game, I was like, shit. But I mean, imagine if we actually had, imagine if, Jurgen actually took Landon, and Landon came off the bench for Altidore. And, he's playing that target 9 with Deuce playing that off 9. All right, here comes the U.S. now. Up the up the left-hand side. Here's Arpston off the counter with Christian trying to play it in. Ooh, that ball was played into the keeper. That gets deflected out. Ooh. Kind of a shitty weighted pass there for Christian. But that being said, you got to play him ahead of the defender. And look, is there going to be a whistle? Yeah, there is. As Christian went flying. Let me ask you a question, Rich Rod. What cycle did you think that we had the best team going into a World Cup and a team that you thought had the possibility of getting past the round of 16 or potentially making a run? And it looks like this is going to be a free kick for the U.S. Altidore, he was so good up until the point he got point of the shot. He made a lot. He also shanked a lot. You know who actually I felt was better than Altidore, believe it or not, was Eddie Johnson. I thought Eddie was a better striker for this team. That's just me. Obviously, he had the physicality, and his hold-up play was amazing, and he actually had some pretty good goals. But I just think that Eddie Johnson, flat out, was a better striker. He can do a lot more in the box. Because the 2002 team, getting off to that hot start. getting off the hot start allowed us, and we got lucky that as that ball is going to get played in, and it's going to get headed out immediately. Like we got lucky in 2002 because we got Mexico in the round of 16, and I don't think that ever happens again. But I thought, here's the weird thing, right? I thought our two best teams talent-wise were our 2010 team in South Africa and our 2014 team in Brazil. And I actually thought the 2014 team was better than the 2010 team. If we actually had landed. Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Nate. Yeah, like do a sync tonight, man. We're in sync. And this is a far cry from what we've seen, over the course of the season. Like, imagine if we played like this in the Nations League. That ball is going to get played all the way to the right-hand side as Freeman. Freeman's going to have to play this one back. I thought maybe you were like thinking about like the 2012 like Gold Cup or something. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I won't forget Howard's performance. It was one of the single greatest performances from a goalkeeper in World Cup history. Oh, that's a nice play defensively by Japan right there. Yeah, and you know what's funny is like we had an opportunity to win that match. If Clint, by the way, if Clint buries that chance, we advance. And everybody talks about the Wando shot, but that play was offside. As now here comes Japan. Looks like they're on the counter. That was a nice play right there. Was that Freeman? Yeah, it was Freeman. Steps in front of it. Absolutely. As the U.S. now are going to try to tack down the left. And that ball's going to get played forward to the right-hand side. Here's Freeman. That's going to be offside. God damn it. What are you doing, Freeman? But I love the direct balls, man. We haven't, I can't remember the last time I've seen a U.S. team play this good. Oh, yeah, he was way offside. That ball's taken away right there. Can the U.S. converge? That's a nice little ball. Ooh, slide tackle. That's going to get out for a corner. And again, the pressure, the U.S. pressure has created so many high turnovers tonight. Zendejas has played great tonight, guys. I actually now kind of want to see Zendejas with the rest of the first team. I thought Zendejas played well in the second half against Korea, and I think he's been fucking all over the place tonight, even scoring a goal. As that ball's going to get whipped in. Back post. Bouncing around. And it'll pop back out, but the U.S. will hold possession here. And that's a bad pass right there. Come on, guys. Win this 3-0 statement game. I feel you, man. You know what? I'm not trying to get too cocky. I just want another goal. Put this thing out of reach. If you can get the third, you get the third. But Japan right now has no answer. We have been so good through the middle defensively. That's a nice ball right there too. As U.S. will hold possession in the box. Here's Christian. Ooh. Fucking Christian. Now that's like his third shot on the night tonight. The first two were kind of the first one was wonky over the crossbar. God, he just knifes right in. Oh, you got to bury it, fucker. The second one was deflected, and that one was just beautiful, man. Slices right through two defenders. Who is this Christian Pulisic? And where have you been for the last year and a half? As we're in the 54th minute now, you got to stay locked in now, man. You can't allow a cheap goal at this stage. As there is a member of Japan's team tying his shoes. No, at this stage, you have to stay locked in. You cannot allow Japan to get a soft goal here. To allow them back in, we actually have to step on their throats here. That's again. Look at that. Oh, good mid block, man. It just feels like every time Japan tries to play it through the mid, there are two white shirts right on it. As Japan will hold it. This game is being played at Lower.com Field in Columbus, Ohio. This is the home. Columbus is the home of the U.S. men's national team. For years, this team played in Columbus. Oh, here we go. We got Freeman trying to work his way down the right-hand side. The interesting thing is the space that U.S. is allowed to operate centrally. That's the wild thing. That's a bad pass right there. As they were trying to play an overlap right there, except there was no overlap. So here comes Japan now. I was like, man, if you're going to be in Columbus, man, you got to play it mat free. There's a ball over the top to Ito. That's good defense right there by Blackman. Oh, it's not. The U.S. rotates everywhere, but forever they played at Matt Free Stadium in Columbus, and so Columbus that's good deflection right there. And so usually Columbus is referred to as the home of the U.S. men's national team, not necessarily the stadium, the city. But that's the thing is the U.S. Federation has us just fucking playing everywhere. I fucking hate it. I actually just want them to pick a city and play there. As that ball is going to get played forward. Ballo. That ball is going to try to get played to the left. That was a bad switch right there by Ballo. Come on, man. But the U.S. take it away. Oh, and Richards had to come up to make that play right there. Good pass right there by Richards. Here come the U.S. in transition. Here's Freeman. Lays it off. Back out to the right. Oh, cuts in the box. Oh, that ball's deflected. Oh, it found an attacker. As Richards will have to track back to go get it, but god damn it, we nearly scored again. Good switch back to the right side after Freeman laid it off as we get to the end line right there and played one in. There's a turnover for Japan. That ball's going to get played to the back post, and it'll shoot all the way across. There's Ito. Blonde hair, yeah, that's an Ito. As they'll try to play a little deeper on the left-hand side. Oh, good defense right there by Freeman. Good defense. That's got to be Ito. Only a Japanese dude with blonde hair would be named Ito. That's a short kick right there. That ball's going to get played to the back post. Headed away. There's Matt Freeze. And Freeze is going to quickly try to play this out. God, they look good. They looked a lot better in the first half. They're still looking pretty good. Very confident on the ball. Passes, their passing doesn't seem to be rushed. Good touch on it. As Richards now will play one forward. It's Christian. Plays one centrally. It's Freeman. Oh, and US nearly lost that. There's a whistle. There'll be a free kick right there. And that's a yellow for Suzuki. So he gets booked in the 60th minute now. And the US have a deep free kick. And that was in Dejas that had a Jesus Christ, dude. He got a hook around the neck. As here's the restart. That gets played all the way to the right. Here's Freeman. And he's got to lay it back. That's a turnover right there. That's a bad pass by Blackman. And there's a whistle. That's the thing, man. You can't have liabilities in the attack, man. And Freeman is exactly that. But it looks like now the Japanese will make some changes here. And it looks like Minamino has come in for Suzuki. Suzuki was a good car. And it looks like Kamada. Yeah, we'll go with Kamada. Yep, Kamada's coming in for Fujita. And Matoma's coming in for Maeda. So the Brighton man is coming in. That ball's going to try to get played into space. In Japan will hold possession now. Button down the hatches, US. That's good. That's a good ball that gets played in at the end line. There's nothing there. Good passing right here by Japan. And that's going to get played right to Freeze. Good defense. You know, ever since Pulisic knifed between two defenders, the U.S. really hasn't been really all that smooth on the attack. Good press right now by Japan. And there's a whistle. As Balogun will hit the turf. So here we go. Looks like Luna's coming in. Looks like McGlynn's coming in. Luca Della Torre and Serginho Dest. It'll be a four-sided change for the U.S. Ugh. Luca. And McGlynn. Great. So it looks like we're hunting for that second goal, but that's a ball in the box. It's Bello! And the U.S. find their second goal here in the 63rd minute. Good ball forward to Ballo. And the U.S. now extend it to 2-0. This is an absolute beautiful finish And it looks like it was Pulisic that played it forward, and Ballo just fucking drains it. What a finish by Ballo. And now the U.S. extends to 2-0. And how about that, hater? Unbelievable finish. Wow. So here they come. So Tyler Adams comes off. And I think so Pulisic comes off for McGlynn. And I believe so Serginho Dest comes on. And I think Adams and I'm gonna say Roldan come off for Luca Della Torre. No shit, Arston comes off. So Arston for Dest, McGlynn for Pulisic, Luca Della Torre for Tyler Adams, and Luna on for Zendejas. All right. Let's finish this one off. As Rich Rod. Ooh. Bump. Let's go for 4. And here's the thing, man. When the U.S. are playing well, now all of a sudden we want to get greedy. First you said 3, now it's 4. Listen, man, I said it was cool if we can find the second and put this match away. As that's going to get played back to Freeze. Dude, you know what? Honestly, I don't really give a shit how much we score as long as we keep this clean sheet tonight. If we can clean sheet Japan, I'm happy. And that should be what this team is looking for. Clean sheet. As Japan now is going to play forward. There you go, guys. There you go. That's right. Pressing numbers. That's going to be a ball 4. That gets deflected. And I think Ream now is going to try to play this forward. It drops to Luna. Here come the U.S. in transition. They got runners. Here's Freeman. That wasn't really that great of a ball in, but held in by the U.S. Ooh, yeah, that's a foul right there. So the U.S. now will have a free kick in a dangerous area. That one was on Ito. As Christian Roldan hits the turf. Roldan's played well tonight. Can't deny it. As this one now will be a nice free kick in a dangerous area. It'll be Roldan and McGlynn sitting over this one. It's probably going to be McGlynn. As McGlynn will play this one in. Ooh, he found someone. Ooh. It was Chris Richards, and that ball goes over the crossbar right here. What a finish by goddamn Ballo. Ballo's finish was nice. This is exactly what this national team needed. A convincing win against a top opponent. There's a shot right there by Balogun, but right in the keeper. Ooh, that would have been nice. As Japan's now by 2, down by 2. as they brought in some of their better players about 10 minutes prior than we did. And the U.S. has done a very good job as that ball's trying to get it. They tried to play it forward quickly, but there's a whistle. Richie's been subbed off after 60 minutes. Okay, there you go. Is he healthy? Hope so. We have a match against West Ham this weekend. That ball's gonna get. Ooh, shit! That hits the post. As that was turned over. Japan tried to take a nice little shot there. That's what I'm saying. Oof. That was a bad pass. It looked like it was Ito that put one on. Trying to beat Freeze. Doink! Right off the post. That's the first time Japan's looked even remotely dangerous tonight. So this will be a corner. That's going to get whipped in. Pinged around. Just clear it, bud. And now there you go. The U.S. will clear this one. As McLean will go up, but that's going to get headed out. Yeah, wet spam. They're a bad team. And it looks like Sugawara's coming in. Yeah, so Japan's trying to bring in some of their best players now. After already bringing in, they brought in, Matoma's on there, Kamada's on there, Minamino's on. And so now they're bringing in Sugawara. And I wonder if they're going to bring in Endo, Wataru Endo. I hate Liverpool players. So here comes Japan now down the left-hand side. Cuts to the middle. Nice flick backwards. That's just a bad weighted pass. They'll get out for a goal kick. So Japan struggling. They can't seem to find that final pass into the attacking third. So we're now in the 71st minute. The United States leading by 2. So Sugawara will come in. Sugawara. This has actually been just a beautiful game of soccer tonight. As we finally end our drought against a top 25 opponent, or we will in about 19 minutes. Maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself, but if the score holds on, man, this is a big victory for this team tonight. And I think all credit's going to have to go to Maurizio Pochettino. Got his tactics right. Players executed. And we came out from the opening whistle with something to prove. Can't complain. As looks like Japan as Mochizuki is off. And now Machino is on. As this will be a goal kick for the United States. And Freeze will play this one down the right-hand side. And now Japan is under pressure. And their keeper is just going to have to sky one. Headed forward by Richards. Here come the U.S. now. Up the left-hand side. That was tipped away as Luna was trying to make a pass. God damn it. Good opportunity right there. Luna just waited a half a second too long, and that ball gets tipped away. Luna needs a good performance. in these last 20 minutes. And now Japan will try to play it centrally. U.S. pretty good with the pressure. As Japan now will be working it from left to right. That ball's going to get played forward, and that's just a little too weighted as it goes out. It'll be a U.S. goal kick again. So we're pushing the 75th minute. Goals tonight from Zendejas and Balogun. Oh, man, it's so nice having a target 9. Somebody that actually can operate in space. Put on a clinical finish. We missed that. Yep, flow goal. It's a Ballo bomb. It's good to see Serginho on there. Luca De La Torre's garbage. Good for MLS. It's funny because my brother's an MLS honk. So he actually believes that, some of these guys can play at this level. Looks like there's some World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF. So it looks like Costa Rica versus Haiti. That ball gets played to the back post. Now the U.S. will clear. I think I said, so it's Honduras versus Haiti or Honduras versus Costa Rica. Haiti versus, who gives a shit? It's CONCACAF. Although it would be kind of cool to see Costa Rica in the World Cup. That'd be kind of cool. See, here's the thing, right? I'm a big CONCACAF guy, and I've been that way forever. I like the CONCACAF region because it's physical, it's dirty. It's not UEFA, I get that, but I don't know, man. I've always had a fond spot for CONCACAF. As this ball is going to get played in off a Japan corner. That's excellent right there, way to clear it. Luis Suarez of Colombia has 4 goals right now. Are you talking about Chomper, Inter Miami, or Luis Suarez from Colombia? Luis Suarez from Colombia. Oh, that Luis Suarez. Luis Javier Suarez Charis. Okay. Whoa. So he's lighting up World Cup qualifying in Common Bowl, huh? Colombia's a good team, man. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Those dudes can ball. Here comes the United States as there's a turnover right there. That's going to get played to Balogun, who's going to hold it up. That ball is going to go down the right side. It's McGlynn. As McGlynn now is going to play it centrally, tipped away, all the way to the left now. Try to dribble in, shoots. Ooh, what a save. Oh, and McGlynn put one on. Hell of a save right there. As that ball moved from right to left, and De La Torre just tapped it, and McGlynn put one on. God damn it, he nearly buried it. McGlynn's got a nice left foot, man. And I was wondering if that got tipped a little. As Balogun looks like Balogun's coming off now. Is this going to be an opportunity for a guy? Maybe they bring Josh on for 10 minutes. Maybe Josh can get a nope, Damian Downs. Good. I'm glad. Let's go, Damian. What a performance tonight by Balogun. There's your U.S. #1 at striker. Because that ball's going to get played in. That's a short. That ball was played short. Ooh, here comes Japan on the counter. Look at that, man. Chris Richards is such a good defender. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. It was a great goal attempt right there. It's nice to see Damian Downs, man. I've been watching, like, that's the thing. It's like I've been watching the championship quite a bit so far. Obviously, Norwich City, but I've been paying attention to Southampton too because of Damian. And he's gonna end up getting that starting spot at Southampton. His talents are actually awesome. Good defense right there by the U.S. Closing down that corner. Alex Freeman. Good defense right there. As we are now in the 80th minute. 10 minutes to play. What a performance from the U.S. tonight. 2 goals. Alex and Dejas in the first half off a good ball in from Max Arston. That was an even better finish. And then Balogun off a nice little weighted pass forward from Christian Pulisic, and it was 2-0. Just good attacking fluid movement tonight. They seem to be in sync tonight. And boy, do they absolutely need this win. Without a doubt. As down on the pitch is Blackman. Come on, Tristan, don't be a pussy. Rub some dirt and get back out there. Dude, I just hate floppers, man. I'm sorry. Seriously, man, yeah, like Matoma didn't even touch you, bud. And you're just gonna sit there and roll on the ground like you got shot. Look at that. Jamaica 1-0 over Trinidad. Let's go, Reggae Boys. I got a fondness for the Reggae Boys. They're not a good national team, but I still like to see them do well. Because that ball's going to get played to the front. Damian Downs has got hops. As that'll fall down to McGlynn. And immediately take it away by Matoma. Yeah, he's a Premier League player. Sorry, Jack. Good. The U.S. is doing a pretty good job of kind of holding possession. As that ball's now going to get played forward. As the U.S. are going to try to slow it down here, but Japan's. Yeah, there you go. That back pocket was picked, and now he gets his pocket picked. As Downs will play out to the left now. Looks like it's Dest. Shoots! Ooh, shit. Did that cross? Did that cross the line? No. Oh. Actually, that looked like it was 3 for a second. As Christian rolled on. We'll get whistle right there. As I look at this again, that got played. And was that McGlynn again? Was that McGlynn's left foot again? As it hits the crossbar, it came down. I thought it crossed the line. That's a shot right into Freeze. That was easy for Freeze. Yeah, that was McGlynn again. As it hits the cross, like when it came down, I thought it crossed the line. God, McGlynn's had 2 nice looks at net tonight, too. And there's a whistle. They still who has still left to qualify? Well, let's find out. All right, let's find out. All right, so currently, Curacao is leading. Curacao and Bermuda is tied 2-2. Jamaica is leading Trinidad 1-0. Suriname beat El Salvador yesterday. Holy shit. And Guatemala, Panama played to a 1-1 draw. Look at the standings here. Suriname leads Group A. Jamaica leads Group B by 4 points. As Japan's now in the box here, trying to play it across. That's going to get over the head, get over everyone's head. As now, as both Roldan and Destiny are played between each other. As Japan's now just ratcheting up the pressure here. And that'll get out. Jamaica leads Group B by 4 points over Curacao. Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Honduras all have 1 point in Group C. That's probably like the best group right there. And second place ranking, El Salvador leads with 3 points. Okay. So this is the final round. And I would probably assume I see what's going on. So all 4 winners will advance to the quarterfinals. And I think the top 2 spots will get qualifying. I think there's going to be 5. Oh, that's a shot. Oh, god damn. That was Damian Downs that just put one on and missed. Jesus Christ, man. We're absolutely just bowling Japan tonight. That's a turnover. Oh, damn it. I thought we were going to hold it in. Oh, and we do. Here's McGlynn. McGlynn's going to go again. That's just going to go wide. Yeah, we probably should be up 5-0. I agree. Like just on McGlynn's 2 chances, that should have been 4. But that was a nice little layoff for Damian Downs right there. You got to bury that, Damian. God, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, we've been good. Clinical. As Japan's trying to work this way around now. From the left-hand side, it's Bitoma. And that's going to get headed away. And now headed out. And they tried to clear. Now here comes the U.S. now. And now here comes the U.S. counter up the left-hand side. Looks like it's Dest. Here's Serginho. Lay it off, bud. Ooh, that's a shot on net. Oh, that's taken away. Oh, that should be a penalty. Yeah, they're not going to give the penalty. Yes, Serginho put one on. That's a good save. As we're now approaching the 88th minute now, as the U.S. holds a commanding 2-0 lead here. Honduras versus Nicaragua. And I believe CONCACAF is sending 5. The 3 automatic qualifiers. Actually, no, it's top 3. 3 automatic qualifiers, and then the U.S., Mexico, and the in Canada. And so I think it's 6. CONCACAF has 6 entrants in the World Cup. As Matoma now trying to work against Freeman. Good defense right there. This was actually a really good defensive performance, man. As Japan will hold this one in. Can the Blue Samurai get one? And they're going to play this out to the left of Matoma now. Nice little touch right there. That ball gets played centrally. Japan will hold it in. 89th minute. That ball gets played in. Headed up and out. Says now this looks like a damn World Cup quality team. They're definitely playing just night and day better than we saw on Saturday against South Korea. 2-0 Jamaica. Jamaica leads their group by 4 points, man. They'll get into the quarters. As this will be a goal kick for Matt Freese as we're approaching the 90th minute now. As that ball gets played forward. 3 minutes of stoppage time here. Japan's down to their final 3 minutes. As this ball will make its way to its left, that's going to get deflected. As that ball gets played in. Literally their defense has just been organized. They're compact. And Japan just could not break it down. The desire to play in a back five has worked. It was just a stroke of brilliance tonight. And then you see that second line of four. They just couldn't break in. They couldn't break into the box. As that ball will get shot all the way down the pitch. As we're in the 91st. The U.S. is a minute and a half away from a clean sheet. As Matoma. And that ball was just a bad pass into the box. They'll try to clear it. That ball was kept in. No whistle. Oh, nice. And now that'll get cleared. Well done. As we approach the 92nd minute now. Hold on now. Let's get this clean sheet, goddammit. As that ball's going to get played a little deeper. Oh, nice defense right there. Nice sliding tackle. And the U.S. will clear. Japan will try again. Actually, that got out. Looks like it's a U.S. throw-in. 20 seconds remain. And that ball gets played all the way back to Freeze. And Freeze will play it long. 93 minutes are up. That ball gets headed up. Luna, try to play it forward. There it is. There's the final whistle. As Mauricio Pochettino will get his first win versus a FIFA Top 25 team. A 2-0 clean sheet victory over Japan. In what I would consider their best performance of the season, not including the Gold Cup. This was legit, man. Yeah, and I agree with you, Rich. It probably it probably should have been. But I'll say this, right? First half goal by Alex and Dejas, who actually had a brilliant performance tonight. without a doubt. He was kind of a nuisance for Japan's back line as this game really kind of started with the U.S. just pinging balls forward and testing out that back line, getting their speed into areas where they can use their 1v1 skills. And I thought they did a very good job early. It looked like they were the team that were that were the most aggressive. It looked like they were the one that was more determined, the one that had more ambition, the one that had more bravery. And then, of course, Arvston, that was like, I'll say this, right? Arvston did a good job to skin his defender. The cross wasn't exactly great, but that being said, you look at the movement of Zendejas to get his left foot on it, and he puts the U.S. up 1-0. In the second half, I would say that it kind of started a little slow for the U.S., but they got back into it. And of course, then Christian Pulisic, I don't want to accuse him of playing hero ball, but he had that nice little movement where he essentially split two defenders to try to get a shot on goal. And then later, about 5 minutes later, he played a nice little weighted pass through to Balogun, and Balogun off not exactly the greatest angle finds the finish, and the U.S. ends up winning this one 2-0. And I will say that again, prior to this match, I was saying that I was a big fan of these tactics tonight because one of the things that they couldn't do was put themselves in a position where they were going to leave themselves wide open. That was the problem against South Korea, especially when you're pairing a guy like Tristan Blackman with Tim Ream. They've never played together, and so Ream is going to have to shade over to try to cover some of that. And of course, Blackman gets burned against Sonny for that first goal, and then it was just all downhill from there, right? So they couldn't put themselves in another situation like that where Japan was going to be able to take advantage of them early. And so I like the call for 5 in the back. They were compact, they were organized. Their movement was in sync. And of course, you had the 2 6s at the top of the 18, which was a stroke of brilliance because Japan just could not camp in front of the 18-yard box. And so essentially what ended up happening was they were stuck on the wings. And, I thought Alex Freeman's second half performance was actually pretty good. And I'll say this, bringing in Serginho Dest for Arvston to finish it out was a stroke of brilliance as well, too. And I just thought that, it was the right game plan for a guy like for a team that's very technical in Japan, right? You look at their passing sequences and you can see talent. But that being said, they try to play it centrally and the U.S. just cut it out. And I thought essentially having 7 defenders on the pitch was the right call. But also when you're looking at the counterattacking too, especially whether it was Tyler Adams or whether it was Christian Roldan, the ability to play the ball forward, not only on the ball, on the half turn, moving it up, but also playing it forward to try to break lines. I thought both of them actually played pretty well. It was a good performance for a guy like Christian Roldan. His one performance, essentially his game and a half in this camp has been virtually better than anything we've seen from Sebastian Berhalter, including the Gold Cup. So from that standpoint, congratulations, Christian. I thought you had a good camp. But McGlynn in the second half, man, he was dangerous. Had 2 opportunities at net with that left foot. Should have scored both goals. Didn't work out, but it was nice to see Jack McGlynn get on his left foot and be dangerous. Overall, as this game progressed, one of the things that I liked was the fact that the U.S. just ended up staying on the front foot. As soon as their transitions were just beautiful, right? And this is something that we hadn't seen because Pochettino has been trying to, fit a square peg in the round hole with his 4-2-3-1 narrow. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit the profile of this team. We actually have to play wide. We actually have to have width because if we're actually playing down the wings and we're playing our technical players onto the ball, right? It spreads out their back forward and it leaves channels wide open for shit like we saw when when Zendejas found that goal in the first. He was able to move, and if you noticed, he beat his man. There was nobody around Zendejas when he put that ball on goal. And then of course, same thing in the second half when Pulisic played on Balogun. So from that standpoint, this was a massive win, massive win for the U.S. They get the monkey off the back when it comes to beating top 25 teams, and that has to feel good for Pochettino because he's been, let's be honest, man, he's been under fire lately, and he's been criticized to the point where even members of the media are taking pot shots at him and questioning his abilities. And of course, having a game like this, but not just a win, but also a convincing clean sheet, that's going to go a long way. But one of the things that I believe is to be true is momentum is real. And one of the things that this team needed was just a good convincing win where they played hard, they were able to grind, and they were able to actually keep themselves in the game without making mistakes, right? You would probably assume that they would concede a goal at some point because they would probably figure out a way to tune themselves off, but they didn't do that tonight, man. And from that standpoint, I tip my cap to the U.S. men's national team because this was a complete win and something we hadn't seen in a very, very long time. This has been a rough cycle, man, all the way through from the start of it and all the way to tonight. So it's nice to see it, and maybe this is the start of something. Maybe this is going to be the start of something that's maybe we're going to start seeing this team apex at the right time as we get closer to the World Cup, because God damn it, man, we needed it. But also, this fan base needs a reason. And I think that Pochettino just gave it to him tonight. So congratulations to them. Let's get into the stats tonight. Because this was brilliant, man. A 2-0 win over Japan, a clean sheet where we controlled 55% of the possession to Japan's 45. Total shots, US 19. That's so fucking pretty to see, man. US 19, Japan 11. Shots on target 11-6. That's what I absolutely love to see. Big chances, US 4, Japan 1. And then we missed 3 big chances to their 1. Accurate passes, US 488 to Japan's 367. Fouls committed, Japan 13, US 8. They won the quarter battle 6-3. When you take a look at the shot breakdown, shots inside the box, 15 for the US to Japan 7. That's a monster number and something we haven't seen in a long ass time. Gold Cup notwithstanding. When you're able to consistently be in your opponent's box and just firing chili peppers up the ass of the goalkeeper, man, that's unbelievably fantastic. Shots outside the box were even at 4-4. When you look at the total passing, 561 for the U.S., 561 to 434 to Japan. Passes in the own half, 295 for the U.S., 175 for Japan. Passes in the opposition half, 193 to 192. Accurate crosses, 8-1 for Japan. Accurate long balls, 30-22 to Japan. Touches in the opposition box, 41 for the U.S. to Japan's 26. God damn it, that was dominance. Total tackles, 17-9 for Japan. Interceptions were even at 8. Clearances, U.S. 23, Japan 19. Duels, Japan 50, U.S. 42. That's pretty close. Ground duels, 34-32. That's close. Aerial duels, 16-10. Not so much. But when you start looking at some of these numbers and you actually start seeing the dominance of what the U.S. were able to accomplish tonight, and again, man, Japan's not a shitty team. As a matter of fact, they're the type of team that seems to win big games in the World Cup, right? Because they're so technical. And they're also disciplined as well too. So when you can actually get a performance like this, that's something that you can actually build off of. And to be honest with you, man, this is exactly what we've been needing for quite a long time. Let's go ahead and check the let's go ahead and check the chat real quick. Nate Holloway says, awesome show stateside. Thank you for the live. Absolutely. I'm here for every US men's national team live stream, every single match we cover it here, and including the run up to the World Cup. And with the exception of the World Cup match that I'll be at, I'll be covering the World Cup as well too. Rich Rod says, should have been 6-0. You failed us, USMNT. God damn it. He just goes on to say JK. That's funny. Yep. Z and Flow goals. Beautiful performance. Awesome show. Absolutely, man. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe buttons. Let's see. 2 offside goals for Trinidad. Poor Trinidad. And we'll get into CONCACAF in just a second. It's funny, though. And then AK Sheg says, great show, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I had gotten so downtrodden with some of these results, and I didn't want to get into that web of getting into the whole should we fire Poch narrative, because I think it's ridiculous. But that being said, it's like, I wish this would have happened sooner. Like, I wish he would have done this in Nations League against Panama. That would have been nice. But that being said, at that stage, you're still kind of feeling out your team. If you remember when he got hired in September of last year, didn't have his first real official window until October. I think we had a match here, and then we went down to Mexico and lost. And then, of course, I think he had Camp Cupcake, and then it was we had Nations League against Jamaica. Then we had Camp Cupcake, and then we had the semifinals. And so I understand the reason why there wasn't a tactical shift. I get it. But that being said, it's like, it took him this long to finally just kind of press the right buttons. But I'm glad it's better late than never, man. It's better late than never. But what I will say is that I still think Poch was a good hire for this nation. And who knows how this thing is gonna play out. But I'll say this, man. If we play like this consistently, and what I mean by that is tactically, if we're playing 5 in the back, with 2 6s on top, the type of 6s that are going to be accountable defensively, but also on the half turn can push up and break lines. We are going to be kind of a dangerous team, because when you think about the inside forward position, right? So Christian was on the left, and Zendejas was on the right. Now take Zendejas out and put in a guy like Timmy Weah. You know what I mean? Or even a guy like Yunus Musa, who's a burner. And now all of a sudden you're playing balls forward in space to a guy like Weah or Musa on the right-hand side. And you got Christian doing underlapping runs underneath a guy like Balogun, where they can play 1-2s to each other. And it's like the sky is the limit, right? So I would, like, if I'm Poch, I'm focusing simply on improving the tactics of what we saw tonight, and minus a dude like Tristan Blackman. It's interesting though, because tomorrow we're going to be doing after every single window, I'm doing a World Cup roster prediction show. Tomorrow is going to be version 2.0. If you go back into the archives, you'll see my first one after I think it was after Gold Cup. And so now that we're done with the September windows, we'll be doing it tomorrow night at 6:00. And of course, we're going to be going over each position, and we're going to talk about, whose stock rose, whose stock dropped, and where they are at the pecking order, so we get a clear idea of exactly what this World Cup roster is going to look like. So that's going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. So that should be fun. This weekend, we also have on Friday, we have the pre-match build-up for Spurs versus West Ham. So that should be fun. And of course, we have the Hotspur Watchalong that's going to be on Saturday. And then on Monday, we're going to have the Yanks Abroad, which is a recap of all the U.S. men's national team European pool players and their weekend that was. So that should be fun as well, too. So a lot of good content that's coming up here on Stateside Footy. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons, because again, man, this channel is growing fast, and I do appreciate the love that has been shown to me so far. And I'll tell you what, man, I got a few creative things. Do I post this on the Facebook page? Every once in a while I do. I do have a Facebook page though. Yeah, anyway, so like I'm thinking about doing a WordPress website where I can actually write a few blogs, that type of thing, but also embed the show. And I got a couple ideas for t-shirts and hats as well too. So that is something that I think I might launch. But in the meantime, man, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. And maybe I'll think about even doing a Patreon show as well too. We'll find out. If I got a guest that, you know, I can facilitate that, maybe I'll do that. But in the meantime, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. I know it's well past my bedtime, but you know, it's the U.S. men's national team. What are you going to do? Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I hope it's productive. I hope you guys enjoy work. And I'm glad that the U.S. men's national team were able to give you guys a win tonight, a much needed win tonight. So you guys take care, man. Have a great night.
Rusted goalposts under fading skies, tattered flags waving dreams in our